more on where things stand, our chief election and campaign correspondent, that's Robert Costa, is here in New York today and joins us at the table. Always good to see you.
Great to see you.
Let's start with Chris Christie. His decision to drop out after he said, I'm not going anywhere, I'm here to the bitter end, number one. And number two, that hot mic moment. Those hot mics get you every time, Bob. But let's start with his decision to drop out. What do you make of that?
Gayle, I've been speaking to Christie's allies over the past 12, 24 hours, and it's evident that he's not going to endorse Nikki Haley at this point, but he decided to get out of the race because he didn't want to be seen as someone who was enabling Trump to win New Hampshire and ultimately win the nomination. And by getting out now, he's giving Nikki Haley runway and anybody else runway to take on Donald Trump directly.
So he can say, I didn't block it. What do you think about the hot mic? Haven't
Chris
we all
Christie.
learned about the hot mics? Yeah, go ahead.
That's Chris Christie. I've covered him since he first ran for governor. This is someone who's a television personality. He's, in his words, a truth teller. Mm-hmm. And he's not just going to tell it on Trump. He's someone who's going to tell it about the rest of the Republican Party. And I've spoken to him in recent weeks, and he is someone who doesn't believe the Republican Party at this point is ready to accept any kind of reality check from him or anybody else on former President Donald Trump, even though Trump's in court today again here in New York.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people were saying that it looked like Haley and DeSantis were kind of competing for second place, and you've got Trump just a channel or two away on the dial. Is anything going to change the dynamics of this race between now and Monday?
Well, Christie getting out makes it really about who was on that debate stage last night. Haley versus DeSantis for that second place slot. Can DeSantis overperform in Iowa? When we go to Iowa, is it going to be a story about Ron DeSantis doing better than expected? If he does that, that could keep DeSantis in the race until Super Tuesday in early March. And for Haley, it's about doing well enough in New Hampshire, maybe even scoring an upset so she can go into her home state of South Carolina in a few weeks after that and have a big win and really power toward the convention.
Let's get back to that court case that you mentioned. You're here in New York for the closing arguments in Trump's civil fraud trial, which he is attending. What do we expect, and why is this so important for him?
It's surreal, for one. I've sat behind Trump in court to watch him from the back, that head of hair that we all know, and to see him really fidgety and unhappy with the judge in the case, Judge Engoron. This is a civil fraud trial. His whole business is on the line. The Trump Organization, they're saying that organization and Trump committed fraud. He could have hundreds of millions of dollars to pay. Of course, if that happens in the coming days after the closing arguments today in court, he will certainly appeal it.
All right. We'll all be watching, and you'll be there.
And I'll be there.
All right. Thank you very much, Bob.